From wherever you might be watching us or listening to us from, we welcome you to our Talking Sports program here on the Gambia Radio and Television Services, the program that looks largely at home front. And today too, we're going to be doing the same thing. It's the beginning of the week. My name is Fangra Baji, welcoming you to this program. We'll be looking at the Aips Africa Congress because Banjul played host to a historic gathering of the 2026 Aips Africa Congress, bringing together delegates from across the continent and around the world to actually talk about important issues, pertinent issues with regards to sports journalism and the promotion of sports journalism across the continent and around the world. We'll be hearing from speakers, different speakers, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mohamed B.S. Jallow, who deputized the President, His Excellency Adam Barrow, spoke on behalf of the government. Youth and Sports Minister was there to tell the delegates and the rest of, the people in the hall about what his ministry has been doing as far as sports is concerned and what is expected of journalists as far as their work is concerned. Information Ministry were represented by the Permanent Secretary Kodu El Jabang, who spoke on the need to actually continue working professionally as far as sports reporting is concerned and what the government have been doing since the change of power in 2017. We'll also hear from the Ghana Sports Minister, who delivered a powerful speech with regards to sports coverage within and outside the Gambia, urging for journalists to continue following African talents and continue to promote African achievements as far as sports is concerned at the continental level. If time permits, we'll be doing a bit of internationals and also look at the GFF male and female domestic division 1 and 2 leagues, and equally talk about a bit of international. My name is Famara Baji and I'm joined on the set by Yusufa Job to talk about this Monday's edition of Talking Sports here on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM. Yusufa, good to have you back.
Yeah, good morning, fam.
Should it be good to have me back? I've been the one away. Yeah. I think I've been the one away all this while. So
that is what I was going to say, because you are the one who wasn't around the last week or two. Yeah, but as always, we glad to have all of you back. Those on radio, on Facebook, and those on tele. Yeah, good to be back again.
Yes, so we're starting off with the Aips Africa Congress. Because Banjul hosted a historic gathering of the 2026 Aips Africa Congress, bringing together sports journalists, policymakers, and stakeholders from across the continent to deliberate on the way forward of African sports journalism. Policymakers called for more coverage of Africa's achievements in sports and the profiling of talents from the grassroots level. During the opening ceremony, Gambia's Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow, another top government official, reassured the government's full commitment to supporting sports and sports reporters within the country. Let's take a listen to what the Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow had to say in his welcoming statement. When we come back, the program continues here on GRTS Radio.
Government and people of the Gambia, under the leadership of His Excellency President Adam Barrow, are honored to welcome Aips Africa to our shores. Our nation remains firmly committed to democratic governance, press freedom, regional solidarity, and youth empowerment through sports and culture. We view this Congress as a strong affirmation of the Gambia's engagement with Africa and the international community, and our dedication to unity, peace, and sustainable development across the continent. Since our maiden appearance at the Africa Cup of Nations in 2021, the Gambia has worked tirelessly to place sports at the forefront of our national development agenda. Through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the government continues to invest in infrastructure, grassroots development, and youth programs. Our athletes have brought pride to our nation, and their achievements have been amplified by the tireless work of the Sports Press and Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, This Congress is taking place at a critical moment in Africa's development journey. As our continent advances the implementation of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, an agenda anchored on good governance, democratic values, people-centered development, and a strong African identity. Within this framework, sports and the media are recognized as powerful instruments for unity, youth empowerment, and social transformation. In Africa, sports transcend the boundaries of the field or the court. It is our heartbeat, our source of national pride, and one of our most effective tools for social cohesion. You are the bridge between the sweat of the athlete and the tears of the fan. You have the power to shape the narrative of an Africa that is rising, resilient, and ready to lead on the global stage. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are implementing our recovery-focused national development plan, that is the YIRWA. Our development agenda recognizes that for a nation to thrive, it must invest in its people and institutions. Consequently, this Congress aligns with good governance and media freedom, human capital development and youth empowerment, and digital transformation pillars of the RFNDP. These pillars express governance commitment in fostering a free and independent media, viable career path for the young people, and digitally literate and connected society respectively. Additionally, the government of the Gambia has strengthened press freedom and transparency through the Access to Information Act of 2021.
That was Mohamed B.S. Yalo, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, he who delivered the opening statement during the opening ceremony of the 8th AIPS Africa Congress, which was hosted under the leadership of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia in partnership with AIPS Africa, AIPS Global, the government of the Gambia, at the Sadauda Karabajora International Conference Center. Well, aside the Vice President, the Youth and Sports Minister, Bakari Y. Baji, commended SJAG for the wonderful work and also called on journalists to cover extensively things that also work very right. He said, it should not only be the things that did not go right, but how about the things that actually went in the right direction? In a simpler terms, achievements of administrators, achievements of governments, achievements of countries as far as sports is concerned. So let's take a listen to the Gambia Sports Minister Bakari Y. Baji. When we come back, talking sports will continue here on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM.
And we want to say congratulations to our brother, Mr. Omar Jaju, and to Mr. Cham from Senegal, as well as Mr. Sisi, for putting up all the efforts and ensuring that whatever is necessary is put in place to welcome our guests here in the Gambia. As we look forward, the Gambia remains committed to deepening collaboration with the Gambia Sports Journalists Association and the international sports press. As stakeholders, we can promote knowledge exchange, capacity building, and stronger network that benefits sports and sport journalism across Africa. We, however, want to reiterate our call that sport journalism is not just about writing what didn't go right. It is also about writing the things that have gone well as a way of building confidence in the sector and ensuring that we bring more investors into sports. Additionally, we want to call on our journalists, both here in the Gambia and in Africa, to decentralize their writings so that we are not just seen to be promoting one form of sports and disadvantaging the other. It is a responsibility that, yes, some are interested in football, but you have others that are equally interested in athletics, those that are interested in volleyball, and some that are interested in other forms of sports. And all of these help each country to realize the dreams of not just one sector of the industry, but other sectors that are equally important and empowering. We would want to say again that as a country, we are ever committed to continue the partnership, but also using sports as a way of promoting our tourism and our diplomacy. Just last year, the Gambia hosted the Interministerial Ministers' Meeting on Anti-Doping, and here we are hosting these for our sport press from the African continent. In 2026, in addition to this meeting, we're looking forward to hosting the West Africa Wrestling Competition in April here in Banjul, bringing all the West African countries to participate in wrestling in the Gambia again for the first time. Later in the year, we'll be hosting the African sports activities for Africa Zone 2, which is mostly the West African countries, but under the African Union Sports Council. All of these are efforts that the Gambia is making to ensure that sports remains a viable industry that will be supported by not just the private sector, but as well government.
Youth and Sports Minister Bakari Baji there, speaking during the opening ceremony of the 8th AIPS Africa Congress held at the Sadado Karabajora International Conference Center under the stewardship of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia. The Vice President talked about, government's commitment to press freedom. This was re-echoed by Kodu El Jaban, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information, who said government is fully committed to press freedom, which allow reporters to work freely in their job. Previously, we used to see even sports reporters being detained for just commenting on issues that are critical about the government, but all that has now become a thing of the past since the new democratic dispensation. So let's take a listen to the Permanent Secretary Kodu El Jabang, who deputized for the Gambia's Information Minister at the opening ceremony. When we come back, Talking Sports will continue here on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM.
Past 9 years, under the government of His Excellency President Adam Barrow, we have seen unprecedented progress in press and media freedoms and sporting success. This combination of a free and secure working environment for the media and our appreciable efforts at sporting excellence in football and athletics, for example, has put our country firmly on the world map for the very good and positive reasons. You will agree with me that the Gambia has consistently improved its press index ratings since 2018 and continues to build a healthy working relations between the press and the government. Indeed, a few weeks ago, His Excellency the President hosted the second executive dinner for the media at State House. This innovation was meant to close any gap that remains in terms of trust and confidence between the Fourth Estate and the First Estate. More to this is the fact that as we speak, there is no Gambian journalist in state custody or on trial in which the state has an interest. Many stifling media laws have been removed from our law books. We have, as a ministry, continued to engage the media through its apex body, the Gambia Press Union, in regular dialogue to fashion new laws and regulations designed to widen the media landscape for free expression. The Information Commission, created in 2024, is one such institution created following healthy dialogue between the government and the media. Just this week, the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services was assisting the Gambia Press Union launch its policy documents in ethics, complaints, mechanisms, and newsroom safety.
Kodu El Jaba, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information there, and this program is Talking Sports here on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM with Fangara Baji. And use of a job in the studios for you. Our topic of discussion this morning is the 8th Aips Africa Congress, which was hosted in Banjul for the first time in history under the stewardship of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia. The event brought together policymakers, key stakeholders, top government officials to discuss on the way forward of promoting sports and sports reporters within the continent largely, but by extension globally, because the event was attended by the president of AIPS Global, Gianni Merlo, the president of AIPS Africa, and the president of AIPS AA Europe, and also the vice president of AIPS Global as well. So this goes to show how crucial this particular event is. The president was supposed to be there, but due to some official commitment, he designated or assigned the vice president, Mohamed B.S. Jallow, to go there and represent him on behalf of all the Gambian population. And Yusufa was there all through the 3 days of fruitful deliberations, 3 days of historic convergence in Banjul, and 3 days of, mapping out way forward for sports journalism and sports reporters within the continent. But first, let's look at, this event. We can certainly consider it a significant event, a historic one for the Gambia. Hosting such an event in such a way.
Yeah, it was a big one for the Gambia, like you said, because hosting, yes, we've hosted international conferences here, the whole of, the OIC Congress, the years back, the AU around 2005, but this one is also big. And for me, you look at sports journalism in this country and how it has been over the years, and since this executive, of course, all the executives were doing extremely well because they laid the foundation. But when this executive came, and within the short time frame, like I told you the other time, for me, it was just to even say yes, we can do this, signifies a whole lot of things. And it just shows that, like the AIPS Africa chapter president said yesterday, it doesn't matter the size. A lot of people will say, Gambia is small, but then it's not about being small. It's about what you can do and what you can show to the world. And of course, I think the last 3 days, the Gambia have shown not only Africa, but the whole world. The potential in this country.
They can do, because
of course,
Abdullah Cham said it is going to be difficult for any country to now host this event because of the coordination, the organization, and the way things went smoothly. It's like they've set the bar higher up there. A major challenge for anyone who is going to host the AIPS Africa Congress.
And you remember he was here before the Congress. That is Ablai. He came in to check the level of preparations ahead of the Congress. And at the airport, he said when he touched down, the way he was welcomed, he might even went back because he was satisfied, with what he seen at the airport alone. And okay, for me that was good, and that is what manifested over the last 3 days. So it was a big one. He said that Gianni also said it during the opening ceremony that for the first time we've had all of these delegates, 3 ministers from 3 different countries, having the vice president having the vice president of the country also present, alongside other dignitaries, about how many countries, 23, 24, all sending delegates to attend the Congress. So it was a big one. And for me, we've just shown the whole world why we are the smiling coast of the Gambia. But also, we might be small, but again, we can do big things. And if you spoke to some of the people, during tea break and coffee breaks, and of course, not everybody will say one thing and then they will just saying it for saying
For
sake.
just saying it or trying to please somebody that they are speaking to.
Yeah. So it was a good one, of course.
It was indeed, and I think SJAG deserve a special commendation. We can say it is hosted, or it was hosted by the Gambia, but you know, you go to the ground, you see all these members of the SJAG, I mean, running up and down, entering here, I mean, trying to make things happen, trying to make sure things are done smoothly, everything goes according to plan. I think this is a major achievement, especially you look at the time frame of the executive. They've just been into power for, I mean, a little less than 2 years. And you know, this thing came up and they decided to actually took up the challenge, work together with Aips Africa, you know, under the leadership of Abdullah Cham and the Secretary General Musa Sise, to make sure this becomes a reality. So this is a major achievement for SJAG, and it has taken the name of the Gambia Sports Journalists Association to another level. When you talk about it, it is a sporting event. They will say it was hosted by the Gambia, but then you have the principals coming forward that is going to be the SJAG, because is sports related entirely. Maybe SJAG will be associated with whatever, I mean, achievement or probably unfortunately any failure.
Of course, like you said, it's a Gambian thing, and a lot of people from government, private sector played part to make sure it's a success. But at the end of the day, like you said, people there were people who are the forefront. They initiated it. They accepted the fact that, you know what, we are going to host this. If the SJAG said, you know what, no, we don't think we can do that, I mean, we will not be talking about it today. You know, but when the suggestion came, because when I had Umar here the other time, you know, he said when they went to Morocco for the last Congress, you know, it just came out of a discussion between him and the president, that is Abdullah Cham, that, you know what, why don't you host the next one? You know, and he also came back, talked to the executive SJAG and some other people, and they said, you know what, we can. And then Abdullah was here, he went to the president of the republic, and you know, when he gave the go-ahead, mom, you know, then
it's certainly going to happen. Whatever the cost, whatever the challenge, whatever logistic, is certainly going to happen. And so, the edifice, Sadara Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center, when people go there, Abdullah Cham was like, I mean, so new Eastern thing, like, you know, it's a major, I mean, state-of-the-art facility, state-of-the-art facility that will attract anyone and, you know, impress anybody who actually enter there. So we're going to continue hearing from other speakers, Yusuf. When we come back, we continue, I mean, looking at the discussing, I mean, some of the importance of this and the way forward. So you're listening to Talking Sports program here on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM with Famara Baji and Yusuf Job in the studios for you, talking about the AIPS Africa Congress, the 8th AIPS Africa Congress, which is hosted by the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia in collaboration with the government of the Gambia, AIPS Africa and AIPS Global. The event has been described by many as success, including several speakers. So at the opening ceremony, Ghana's Sports Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams, spoke or talked about the power of sports, what it can do. I mean, is it just on the pitch? Is it on the sideline? Is it after the game? Whatever it takes, sports is just more than fun. Let's take a listen to Ghana's Sports Minister, Kofi Adams, who was also in attendance during the 8th AIPS Africa Congress here in Banjul. When we come back, the program continues.
Senegal's recent AFCON success was not a fluke. It was the outcome of long-term planning, and I know as the Gambia wish to receive the CAF, you continue with your deliberate plans, and surely the CAF will not only be passed through here, but it will come here as champions. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, across Africa, we speak passionately about the power of sport. We recognize its ability to unite communities, inspire young people, project national identity, strengthen diplomacy, improve public health, and contribute to economic growth. We cite its role in education, social cohesion, and international visibility. Yet, despite this shared understanding, sport continues to be treated across much of our continent as an afterthought, not as a strategic economic sector. This contradiction sits at the heart of Africa's sports challenge. We know the benefits, we have the evidence, but we are not yet organized as a continent to fully unlock them. And that is what conferences like this should be aiming at. Your Excellency, globally, sport is no longer a side activity. It is a serious industry. The global sports market was valued at approximately 512 billion in 2023, and it is projected to reach USD of 624 billion by 2027. And it is growing at what? About 5% annually. In many advanced economies, sports contribute around 2% of their GDP, amounting to what? Over a USD of what? 1 trillion in combined global economic output when indirect benefits are included. This growth, Your Excellency, is not accidental. It is driven by deliberate policy choices, discipline, investment, media monetization, infrastructure, planning, and fund-centered economic models. Media rights alone account for about 45% of global sports revenue, which has been estimated at about USD of 225 billion annually. Sponsorship and advertising contribute around USD of what? 180 billion, while match day revenue and merchandising makes up the rest. Beyond these traditional streams, digital platforms, direct-to-consumer content, data analytics, betting integrations, and sports tourism now sits at the center of global sports growth.
Ghana's Sports Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams there, talking about the power of sports. He also wished the Gambia the very best of luck. I don't know if you had that use at the beginning of his speech, saying that at least Senegal will be doing their trophy parade, which is the AFCON trophy parade. They will bring it to Banjul, but his wish is for not only the trophy to pass Banjul, but for the Gambia to become champions. Probably in the next AFCON or the subsequent one to actually come. So that was Ghana's Sports Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams there, who was also in attendance during the 8th AIPS Africa Congress in Banjul. The Permanent Secretary, Kodu El Jabang, further highlighted on the achievements of the Gambia as far as sports is concerned. Since the change of power, we've seen a lot more investment in sports by the Barrow-led administration, but equally a lot more achievements in sports, from athletics to back-to-back AFCON qualifications, qualifying for AFCON on 2 occasions in 2021 and 2023, and to major achievements in school games in Algeria, where the Gambia won gold in athletics, and also silver in beach volleyball. They've won several gold medals in beach volleyball as well. So let's go and listen to Kodu El Jabang, who also urged sports reporters to continue improving and take advantage of the advent of AI and try to adjust to the contemporary realities with the advent of AI in doing their work. So let's listen to her. When we come back, Talking Sports will continue here on GRTS Radio 98.6 and 106.7 FM with Famara Baji and Yusufa Job in the studios.
Our significant strides in restoring media freedoms have gone along with our success in various sporting disciplines. Indeed, the Gambia qualified for the African Cup of Nations for the first time recently, and our athletes have won medals at continental and global events in recent times. Excellency, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, these achievements have given our sports media a lot of work to do, and their contribution to this success has to be fully acknowledged. Success and achievements follow when sports administrators and journalists work together. I wish to end by reminding all that the journey is smooth, but not without hitches. We all know that sports journalism is an ever-evolving area, which makes it imperative for reporters to continue to embrace the latest technologies and ideas to be able to work effectively. To this end, I wish to implore AIPS Africa to continue to render support to the Gambia Press Union.
That was Kodu El Jabang, the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services there. I mean, she spoke about a lot of things. And when you look at the speeches from the Vice President of the Gambia to the Youth and Sports Minister, Bakari Waibaji, to the Permanent Secretary, Kodu El Jabang, I mean, they resonated well with the theme, I mean, of the digital media, AI and ethical journalism in ethical journalism or ethical sports journalism. You look at it, Kodu spoke. When you have all these delegates, it is important to let them know what the government is doing at their level. The kind of environment the sports reporters are operating in. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear from the president, but probably in our next program, we are from the president of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia, Omar Jaju. You look at the speeches, it's good for them to, put it to these delegates that, what, we've achieved a lot of things in sports due to government's investment and commitment towards empowering sports in the country. But there are plans also to even develop sports at the grassroots level. There are plans to continue developing infrastructure. And the environment is there. The environment is conducive enough for anyone to get up overnight and go and do his work without, looking behind or looking over his shoulders to actually see. And there's a need for people to talk about the positives in sports. You've heard from the Ghana's, sports minister saying, probably we'll listen to that later, the youth and sports minister saying, we need to, when you say, okay, government couldn't get us a stadium for almost coming to 4 years now. They couldn't get us a stadium. We are without a stadium. The country is playing all the international matches away. You can say that, but then again, come back and say, okay, the government invested millions into sports. They funded the Gambia's participation in African school games. They funded the Gambia's participation in the AFCON in collaboration with the Gambia Football Federation. So all those things, I think they are quite important. But you hear from all these speeches, you certainly can, try to relate it with the team, But let's look at some of the areas that were discussed during the thematic sessions. There were topics on investigative journalism in sports. I mean, there were topics in AI. There were topics in extensive coverage or fair coverage of sports, not only to limit it to football, but also different gender and all those things. These are very important for sports journalists, especially young one. In the Gambia, you had this one, Abdullah Cham, saying that the Gambia and also this one, the AIPS Asia president Hidon. He said when you go to other countries, you see elderly people like elderly people in their industry. But when it comes to the Gambia, it's a young, vibrant people, trying to report on sports. This shows that the future will be bright. So you can say we have a lot of them out there, but most of the younger ones are all Gambians. So some of those topics coming out for beginners like us and many others who are younger than us, this is very important as far as their future and career sports reporters are concerned.
Yeah. So we had a lot of speakers, and of course, like you said, there are other thematic areas sessions also. But then from the vice president to the minister, and of course to the permanent secretary, they've all spoke about government's support, like you said, since the change of government in 2017. Honestly, I think that is going to be fair to say that we've seen a lot of investment from government across all sports, not only football, across most of the sporting disciplines have benefited from government, and that is good. And also the other thing is, press freedom too. Previously, like I said before, I think that is what sent a lot of people into sports journalism, because then we felt maybe that is maybe a kind of a safer zone for journalism in this country. So a lot of people went in there. But then now I think it's fair to say if people are allowed to do their work, journalists, even though some will still argue there are laws in there. But again, I think it has been a lot of improvement. We've seen a huge improvement since 2017. So that is good. So like, I agree with the minister. It cannot be one-sided. When you say this, of course you have to say this. Yes, we will say the stadium isn't ready, for example. We don't have a lot of facilities in the country. Those are facts that we will say. But again, we've seen huge investment in sports, and like I said, across too. Obviously, we have to say that too, again. And I think that is what is going to be, for me, fair and balanced. When you said this, you said that too. So it was good. But again, I think if you look at, like you said, I agree. If you look at the delegates, I think you look at Gambians who are, present. Majority of us, aside from the old veterans that we have, Musa Assis, and of course the Lamin Chams, and of course Papsen was there during the opening ceremony, and a few others. A lot of we are all young,
very young.
We are young, and of course
even the president Omar
himself,
is one of the youngest presidents.
You compare us to the delegates that also come. They are also young, but I think the Gambia, we have a whole lot of young ones too, and I think this is good because this will expose a lot of us to a lot of things, and the teams, digital media, because look, a lot of things are changing so quick.
The dynamics.
The dynamics are changing so quick that we are in the digital era, of course, and recently you can't just talk about anything without including artificial intelligence. I don't think that is going to, because AI is everywhere. In all disciplines, in all facets,
shaping the growth of the world, movement of
the world. So it's
a lot
important
of things,
that we, in sessions like this, AI is included, how it can help advance our work, because that is why it is needed in our work. We don't want to use it for any other thing but to help us advance our work. Is it a threat? I don't think it is a threat to because some will see it that way, but I don't think.
Depending on how you want to use it. Especially for us journalists. That is why the ethical part of it actually is included in the team, and then So I think this is quite important. So we'll continue to discuss about this. But let's finally hear from Adams, Honorable Kofi Adams, Ghana's sports minister, who ended his speech with a call for more coverage of sports, not only football. I think this is the same everywhere. I mean, the complaint in the Gambia is the same complaint in Ghana, is the same complaint in maybe South Africa, the same complaint in England, that attention is largely given to football. That is because it is dominating. So that is why the Ghana sports minister, specifically pointed out football, saying that, people should not only cover football, but equally follow talents at the lowest level. Schools, in their homes and wherever possible. So let's take a listen to Kofi Adam. When we come back, Talking Sports continues.
We urge sports journalists across Africa to cover all sports. Every sport deserves to be covered. Don't restrict yourselves to only the footballs. Every sport must be covered. To tell the stories of rising athletes, don't wait for them to hit the higher level before you begin to tell their stories. Let's follow them to their schools. Let's follow them to the communities. And let's profile them. That is important and is necessary. Your Excellency, challenge administrators. Yes, we need it. But build confidence. Tell your story in such a way that confidence will be built in African sports. The question before Africa is no longer whether sport can drive development. That debate has been settled globally. The real question, Your Excellency, are harder. Are we prepared to remove the mobility barriers for athletes and fans? Are we ready to move beyond policy statements to enforceable frameworks? Are we willing to invest in fan culture, media visibility, and non-football disciplines? Are we ready to treat sport not as consumption, but as production, value creation, export? Until we answer this honestly, Africa will continue to supply the world with talent, while others capture the economic reward. Sport today is about jobs, data, content, tourism, identity, and power. The opportunity is before us. The responsibility is ours.
Ghana's Sports Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams, there, speaking at the opening ceremony of the 8th AIPS Africa Congress in Banjul. Thought-provoking speech there by Kofi. He spoke on a lot of things which are quite important news. That was a powerful one to actually end
I think
his speech with.
It was, and after the opening ceremony, a lot of people, were reflecting on his speech, and if you look at his speech, you can relate it to, because a lot of things that he spoke about is what we are facing.
Yeah.
The realities that you face in Africa, because the power of sports, we've talked about that here not once, not twice, in our country, but you look at Africa and the talent it has, and one thing he said is we export all our talents.
Yeah.
In Africa, in the other parts of the world, and that is true.
And
in return,
economically, they benefited.
Yes,
more. They benefit more than us. Yeah.
So what can we do? Obviously, we will have to export. At some point, you cannot keep everybody.
Yeah.
Few will have to go. But what can you do to keep majority of them here? And some of these thought-provoking questions, like he said, is what we need to discuss about, and of course, and try to find answers to,
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that he said that we talk about. If you look at mobility across Africa, in sports, fans will want to move in. The AFCON was just in Morocco here a couple of months ago, but imagine traveling from Gambia, you want to go to Morocco to cover the AFCONs. In Africa, one would say you need a visa for. Do we even need a visa to go to Morocco? Maybe if you want to go to Ivory Coast, you want to go to Nigeria, you still need a visa. So all these restrictions are hindering it, because, for example, if Gambia travels to go play there, I don't have a visa to go.
Yeah.
Or even if I have a visa, but you've traveled across Africa, you know how difficult it is.
The logistics is always a challenge.
So all of these things are things that we need to talk about, and of course, investment in sports is one thing that we've talked about here. But it's good that he, as a sports minister, is talking about this thing where we have other stakeholders, other ministers from other countries present, and other delegates from other countries present, because unless we face these challenges and talk about them and find ways to address them, it's going to be difficult for us to change the narratives in Africa. But this continent is big. This continent has a lot of talent, and this continent has a potential to I just saw a video that is not related to sport, but again, this is what someone was saying. If 10 or 15 heads can sit, 15 white heads can sit and decide something, how about 54 heads in Africa? I think he was relating to the UN Security Council and all that. If they can sit and sit, just maybe
and
15
decide,
heads. But how about 54
the
heads?
world should go
So
work
imagine that. So these are some of the things that you just make that balance. These are 15. They sit and make a decision. You are 54. So
the focus always should be on working. I think they've talked about the need for collaboration, partnership.
That is what we need, and it has to go beyond policies. It can't just be we have a policy of free movement, people here and there. That is just a document policy. It is laying down. Now, how do we turn that into something practical that can benefit the whole of Africa? We can just make policies, programs, laws, and here and there, but they are just lying there. They are not worked upon. Unless we start doing that, it doesn't make sense having them at the first place.
So we look forward to, how do I put this one? We look forward to seeing some of the things that are going to come out of this Congress and how they are going to be implemented. In the end, the resolutions that are going to be agreed upon, and how how are we going to see the dynamics changing as far as sports reporting is concerned in Africa, in the Gambia, and by extension globally. So we'll continue to talk about the Aips Africa Congress in our Wednesday's edition of the Talking Sports program here, but equally you can follow the television, GRTS TV. We're going to be talking extensively about the Aips Africa Congress in our multi-sports program on Wednesday at 9 p.m. It's Talking Sports here on the Gambia Radio and Television Services with Fang Rabaji and Yusufa Job. So what we're going to do now, we're quickly going to do a bit of updates of the 2025-2026 Gambia Football Federation Male Domestic Division 1 League. After week 11, we're just going to do a bit of week 11 scores. And, in week 11, Steve Biko Football Club played out a 1-1 draw against Samga at the Bakau Mini Stadium. At the Boxbar Mini Stadium, in what was a West Coast derby or a Brikama derby, Fortune and Brikama United played out a barren draw at the Boxbar Mini Stadium. Goalless, that game ended, and Medina United were defeated 1-0 by Greater Tomorrow Football Club at the Live Your Dream, soccer complex in Basori. Falcons FC played out a goalless draw against Team Rhino in week 11 as well. In the Women's 4th Division 1 League, the Police FC played out a 1-1 draw against Immigration. So we also have some other matches coming ahead. Yusufa, I think that is going to be in the 2nd division, and in the 4th division, we quickly look at the table standings after week 11. This is how the table is like. Gambia Ports Authority are still leading with 22 points. Top of the table, Hawks move 2nd place with 18 points. Behind leaders Gambia Ports Authority and Heart FC are 3rd with 17 points. Bombarda are 4th with 17 points equally, and Fortune are 5th with 17 points. The bottom 3 in the GFF Male Force Domestic Division 1 League is TMT 14th position with 10 points, Samga 15th position with 9 points, and Steve Biko are rock bottom with 8 points after 11 matches. So in the Women's Division 1 League, Berawuleng are top of the table. In their last 5 matches, they are unbeaten. They won 4, just drew 1. So they are top of the table with 22 points, followed by Red Scorpions, who are also undefeated in their last 5 matches with 19 points. Police FC are third with 15 points, and TMT fourth with 10 points. Use interesting scorelines there in the GFF Division 1 League. Brikama United held by Fortune, Samga and Biko also a draw, and Falcons equally playing out a goalless draw with Team Rhino. Medina were defeated by Greater Tomorrow by a goal to nil.
Yeah, I think it's looking great. The first division is interesting. Some teams are finding it struggling a bit. Teams like Medina struggling, but then we have high-flying GPA, who since they returned to the first division, I think they've been the most amazing team in the first division so far. Brikama United and Fortune. Brikama have not been consistent.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then one would say it's too early. But I think for me the league is taking shape now. You cannot just say it's still young.
Yeah, we are almost heading into the halfway of the league. Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope GPA will continue the momentum, because this is that it's the return for them in the top tier, and maybe, like we've been saying here, management is back doing things that is motivating the team that we are not aware of. Probably that is playing part.
Well, with that we draw the curtains here for this edition of Talking Sports program here on the Gambia Radio and Television Services with Farmer Abaji and Yusuf Job. I mean, we've been talking extensively about the 8th Aips Africa Congress hosted under the leadership of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia in partnership with Aips Africa, Aips Global, and the government of the Gambia. We've also briefly talked about the league. We'll be back here in the studios on Wednesday to talk about that, but we are trying to create another program specifically for the GFF male first and second division leagues that is going to be on Sundays at the TV. So when we are done with that, we'll do an extensive coverage of the leagues and do extensive analysis of matches as well every Sunday morning. Until then, you can continue listening to GRTS Radio. Bye for now.